Down here then is the water pump that's probably, well, hopefully the last hurdle between me and an MOT. So the received wisdom from the Haynes book of suggestions is to take the radiator out. I'm a bit bored of taking the radiator out. I've done it loads of times already. I'm wondering if I can get the pump out with the radiator in place, so we shall see. One undone. So you might be thinking, I didn't know that 1960s Land Rovers had hazard lights. Well, they don't. So someone's cocked up his wiring, haven't they? They're not all supposed to be flashing. Right then, next on the list of fiddly little problems to sort out is the windscreen washer. So I plumbed something in and it worked really nicely, but the pump, I had to prime it every time I went to use it, and it's not really practical in use, and I don't think the MOT man would have liked it much either, and I couldn't even get it to work with a non-return valve. So the only recent vehicle I had that I could take one off was the Discovery behind us, and so I took that washer bottle off. It's bloody huge. I can't fit this under the bonnet, it just isn't room. And on the back it's got 3 pumps, so I think this is the main pump for the windscreen, and I'm assuming the other 2, one is for the headlights and one's for the rear washer. I'm just guessing. As you can see, these aren't inline pumps. Well, they are, but they sit right at the bottom of the tank. So I thought, well, they're no use, but then I thought, why not just try, because I'm really that tight, I'm going to try using one of these pumps. What I'm going to do is drill a 20mm hole in the bottom of this tank, stick this grommet in that came from this one, and I'm going to try plugging this motor in and see if I can get a seal. So if this works, I'll save myself a £5 over buying a new pump. If it doesn't, then I'll have to buy a new pump and a new tank. But will it hold water? Well, that'll do me. Hey, bingo bango. Here we are again. more bloody brakes. So I put it all together, and it had been together for a week or so, and then when a mate came round to visit, I got him to give me a hand to bleed them, and it all went really well. And then after that I realised that there was a leak, and the leak is on the back of the replacement cylinder. So where this screws in, where the brake line here, the flexible brake line screws into the back of the cylinder, there was a leak. Probably not going to show up on camera, but that's not very well machined, so the machining doesn't go all the way. This bit here is rough and this bit here is milled, which is pretty crap really. Anyway, with a bit of searching about, it seems that there may be a need to put copper washers on, like so. A crushable copper washer to properly seal it. Now, I've done wheel cylinders on Land Rovers in the past. I don't recall ever doing that, although my memory is atrocious. But I've also been through my book, my rather well-thumbed Haynes book, and there is literally no mention of it in there. No pictures of copper washers, no mention of it in the text. So that doesn't really help much. The other thing I have to say is there were no washers on the ones that came off, but then again they wouldn't have been original anyway. Anyway, so in order for this, this is just a washer that I found in my pack of handy washers. Now, I don't know if it's crushable or not, but I'm going to make it so by annealing it. So this is why the oxypropane torch is here. I should say at this point there's absolutely no need to use oxypropane, it's just I have a kit right here, so that's why I'm doing it. Now, a blowtorch would suffice, or even a kitchen stove. Thankfully, the copper washer seems to have done its job. I had to reset it a couple of times and get it to crimp in quite hard. Yeah, a bit harder than I'd normally tighten up these lines, but it does seem to have sealed. So despite the fact I bought a kit of wheel cylinders and brake lines, there were no copper washers in there, so watch out for that if you're doing brakes. It finally occurred to me to look in the parts catalogue. So if you're working on these old Land Rovers, one of these is really useful. Probably more useful than the, well, it's definitely more useful than the Haynes manual. And here the brake lines, 4-cylinder models. Down here, yeah, that's the front. There is a washer. So I think the confusion probably comes from the fact that, one, they don't seem to supply washers in the kits, but also because on these wheel cylinders, when they're properly machined, like this one appears to be, this surface here is dead flat, and when you've got the hard steel of the line screwed into this softer alloy of the brake cylinder, that will tend to seal up. But like I showed you, the lip on it wasn't quite done properly on that one down there. So, but the copper washer seems to have compensated for that. The last remaining job, apart from all the ones that I haven't thought of, is to put some oil in the gearbox, the transfer box, and the axles. Now, always before, I've done this job using this thing, which is an oil syringe, and this is a particularly crap version. So I'm hoping to be able to retire this and go with this. So I was at the Army Surplus store a few days ago, buying a computer, as you do, and I happened to see this thing. Now, I've got no idea what it's supposed to be. My mate thinks it's something medical or possibly veterinarial. Either way, it looks unused. So I'm hoping this will be, well, I can tell just by looking at it, it's substantially better quality than that effort there. Right, it's getting dark quickly, so I'll wrap up. That's bloody brilliant. That's great. I would have paid some money for that. Right, I'm just going to do transfer box and put all this away. and call that job done. Top stuff. See you next time. Cheers.